This dress worn by Lee Radziwill, I looked at it and I thought, that's it, that's the piece.
Once upon a time, there were two sisters. One that could wear haute couture, while the other had to wear American-made reproductions.
Jackie was not able to express herself in the same way that Lee was because of being First Lady, but Lee could really wear whatever she wanted to. And she loved Givenchy and wore his designs from, I believe, around 1956 up until 1962.
The invitation was to Buckingham Palace, an event so significant it was featured on an episode of The Crown.
Her Majesty.
No curtsy. No curtsy.
Mrs. Kennedy.
What I found really interesting in relation to Lee and what Lee decided to wear is that Lee is obviously wearing a Givenchy original, she's wearing Paris couture, but Jackie, being First Lady, couldn't wear French couture. She did work in Paris as part of the European tour, but now she was in England and she had to go back to representing American manufacture. So Jackie is wearing a copy of a Givenchy dress made by boutique Chez Ninon. This decision to wear it to Buckingham Palace, there's such an interesting dynamic.
So how did Lee Radziwill's Buckingham Palace dress end up in the closet of costume designer Henry Wilkinson? Wilkinson is a fashion historian and a Givenchy authority.
Instinct was really the only thing I could rely on. Instinct and knowledge of Givenchy.
The costume designer recently found the bodice of a Givenchy gown in the costume closet of a London theatre.
When I first saw the bodice as it was originally before I restored it, the first thing that I noticed was the embroidery and the beadwork, and I thought, okay, this is a beautiful example of Givenchy.
The seller told him that it was somehow connected to Jackie Kennedy, but Wilkinson was skeptical.
There was the suggestion from the seller that it had previously belonged or was connected to Jackie Kennedy, and whilst I didn't know that was true, I took that with a huge pinch of salt.
Until social media sleuths came to the rescue. It turns out the dress did have a Kennedy connection. It was the dress Lee Radziwill wore to Buckingham Palace with her sister.
They just out of the blue messaged me and said, you know, I found these photos that I thought you might like to see, and they were photos of Lee wearing the dress. He sent me 2 images of her wearing the dress, and from that I had a concrete date of when they were taken, and so I could continue my research. And that's when I found photos of Lee and Jackie in the car on the way back from Buckingham Palace. I literally put on everything I was doing, and I was watching TV and I turned it off. I was like, everyone be quiet, I need to just look at these pictures a second because I need to concentrate. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
It took about 1 year for Wilkinson to successfully restore Lee's dress.
It's so difficult to capture how beautiful it is on camera because in the embroidery there are hundreds of Swarovski crystals and it just glitters when it moves. And that's something I wish I could capture and convey on camera. To just imagine the events that she wore it to, you know, whether it was at the dinner at Buckingham Palace or at the Red Cross ball in Monte Carlo, you know, in a low light setting, it would just sort of glitter. And I do think that, you know, it was really quite the statement, because what I have learned from researching this dress is what an interesting relationship Lee did have with fashion, and I think almost a relationship that Jackie wishes she could have had, because Jackie as First Lady had to go by protocols with what she was wearing, and you know, she couldn't wear as much of the Parisian couture that she loved because she was supposed to represent American-based designers and manufacturers First Lady.
Wilkinson documented the entire experience on his Instagram page. Go give him a follow.
I'm Kinsey Schofield for ToDieForDaily.com.